This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details.
Can you repeat the money you were going to bet? And we'll go out there, I'll kick you in the nuts, and we'll call it a day.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.
No! It's a covenant cleanup.
Personal foul. Clipping.
Shall we begin?
Hey! Happy Wednesday to you. And boom, 9 to noon is in the air. It's Paul Allen. Brett Blakemore produces today, and we welcome into studio one of our very favorites, Parker Fox. He finishes to a certain extent Mondays and begins Wednesdays with 9 to noon at Parker Fox 24 via Twitter, if you are so inclined. And he's with us now. Did you happen to watch the Timberwolves last night?
Yeah, I did. I saw a report around noon that they were going to kind of roll out the starters. They were going to let them play for about 15 to 20 minutes. No Jaden McDaniels last night. He just welcomed in his second kid into the world. So congratulations to Jaden and his lady on their second child. But yeah, it was fun to check out the Wolves. Obviously our guy Alan Horton over there, doing some play-by-play with, Jim Peterson. They had a new sideline reporter, a bunch of new things, a new shot clock, a couple other different things within the NBA that are changed up this year. But I really did enjoy just kind of checking out Julius Randle, Rudy Gobert, Naz Reid, Mike Conley, Anthony Edwards to start off that day. And I'll tell you what, Anthony Edwards, he's in peak shape. He's ready to rock and roll.
Really?
Yes, he is.
Okay, well, I missed the contest, so therefore, this isn't under the assumption that you would not have watched the game. Mm-hmm. You're a basketball snob, whether it's preseason, regular season, or postseason. So I shouldn't have drawn said assumption. But what I had pulled up was John Krasinski's tweets from last evening, Johnny Athletic. Just in case both of us took the metaphor, the proverbial goose egg on the game. And I was going to follow along with some of these, but let's see what we have here. John Krasinski, X, ouch. Jalen Clark was sneaking in for the steal and accidentally knocked heads with Delon Wright. Wright is still down. That was a scary collision. Did you happen to see said collision, and how scary was it?
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. Jalen Clark is a 100 miles an hour type of player. He was one of the guys I was most impressed with last night. Johnny Juzang as well. I love myself some Terrence Shannon Jr. So these are kind of just these energy guys off the bench. I think the importance of a wing depth is going to be very vital for this Timberwolves team. We know the struggles that we might have in Rob Dillingham, or the advantages we might have in Rob Dillingham. We are yet to find out. He didn't look great last night, but I do think that having some wing depth and allowing Anthony Edwards to be the primary ball handler is going to be vital for this Timberwolves team. Jalen Clark was a guy I looked to last night. Just his energy, his effort. He was a former Pac-12 Defensive Player of the Year type of guy. So you're talking about a dude that wants to get up in your shorts. He wants to play defense. He wants to be right in your face 24/7. I'm really impressed with Jalen Clark, and I can see his minutes going up this year, especially if we can't figure out what we're going to do at the point guard position.
Okay.
Duty EB.
Now, you mentioned Rob Dillingham.
Yeah.
Johnny Athletic, preeminent. I don't know what happened. Maybe you do. There's what Rob Dillingham needs to do. Grabs it and pushes right away. Beats the defense up the floor to the paint. Kicks to a wide open Shannon for a corner three. You remember the moment, and with Dillingham, you said not great, but what'd you think overall?
Yeah, well, Rob's Rob's advantage is his speed, his shiftiness, his basketball IQ. He's one of those littler guys, and PA, you've probably seen this throughout your career, almost like an Isaiah Thomas or a Chris Paul, and when you get that outlet pass, and then you're ready to make the next thing. So it's not outlet, okay, where do I dribble, where do I go? It's outlet. I've played basketball my whole life. I know that the guards are filling the wings. I know that the big's running the middle of the floor. Now, what is my first look? Okay, is Rudy down the middle of the court? Can I make that over the top pass? All right, that's not there. Let's spray it to the outside and let's let guys make shots. So, yeah, Rob was 1 for 7 from the floor. He just didn't play great from a shooting perspective, but I was encouraged by his ability to get the outlet pass, find his spots, and make others better. I think that's something that's going to be huge for Anthony Edwards, right? Because Ant's going to be a guy who's going to have to play probably 40-something minutes a game. Now, can you get the ball out of his hands? Can you let him run the sideline? And then you can't set up your defense. You can't double team him the whole bit. So I really look to Rob to kind of find those advantages in transition. I think that's where he's at his best.
Lastly here, Johnny Athletic. Terrific. Johnny Juzang is absolutely on fire. He's now 6 of 8 from 3 and has brought the Wolves all the way back from 24 down. I've been meaning to ask you this for a while because I know the name Johnny Juzang. Yeah. I know when Johnny Juzang joined the Covenant, you were relatively excited about it.
Yeah.
This would be FIHA, Fairness and Host Act, and apologies may need to come with it. I'm not exactly sure who Johnny Juzang is.
That's okay.
So can you explain to me who Johnny Juzang is, and does he have the capability of absolutely being on fire? 6 of 8 from 3, bringing the Timberwolves from all the way back from 24 down. Johnny Juzang.
Yeah, younger guy. I think he's in his early 20s still. Originally was at Kentucky before transferring to UCLA. Played for some good UCLA teams. Was kind of Jaime Jaquez's running man there at UCLA. 3-and-D type of guy. Obviously, we saw last night the 3 was apparent as he goes 6 for 8 from 3. Wing depth, right? I already preached it. He's another guy at that wing position that if you can go out there and make shots, you can play in this league. And I think that's something that the Timberwolves were looking for when you go pick up a guy like Johnny Juzang. I think he was in Utah last year with the Jazz organization. Right. Pretty sure he's on a 2-way. Not sure if he's fully contracted. I'd be mistaken if I said that, but nonetheless, he's a guy that I think can really help out your organization. He shoots it better than Jalen Clark and Terrence Shannon both do. So if you're looking for a little bit of more spark from the offensive side of the ball, Johnny Juzang might be a guy that you want to, give a couple of minutes here or there. And he proved himself last night going 6 of 8 for 3. If you can consistently be a 40-plus 3-point shooter and you're in the organization, Chris Finch is gonna have to put you on the court.
40%, I'd say.
Totally.
All right, landing the plane here.
9 to noon.
So the one who gets the ones who get the most minutes. Conley, Edwards. Conley will start.
Yeah, he will.
Okay, Conley, Edwards, Gobert, Randall, McDaniels, Naz Reid.
Yep.
Jalen Clark, Terrence Shannon Jr. Who else?
That's kind of going to be. Well, did you say Dante? Yeah, I don't know if you said Dante, but
right.
obviously Dante.
All right, so 9 deep.
Yeah, 9 deep, and then that's kind of your classic rotation. A guy in Bones Highland might be a guy to kind of just keep on your radar. He would have to be over a Rob Dillingham. I don't know if that's something the organization wants to do.
Yeah.
And then you just look at the front court a little bit more in terms of the 2 guys you drafted. Rocco Zagarsky, I think is how you pronounce
Zaharsky or something
like that.
Yeah, Johnny Athletic tweeted about him.
Yeah, but I don't think any of those guys are going to do anything meaningful enough to make it worth it. You have Naz Reid, you have Julius Randle, you have Rudy Gobert. That's kind of going to be your 3-man rotation for 2 positions. But I was impressed. It was a preseason game.
It was fun.
It was fun. They weren't playing overly hard, but just to see the guys back out there again. Naz Reid has been through a lot in the last month. To see him smile, make a couple shots, the whole deal. It's exciting. Basketball's back, so I'm happy.
Blake Moore gets the final question on the Wolves. What type of season do you think Cooper Flagg is going to have his first season? He's playing in Dallas.
Yeah, I'm really excited about this Mavericks team. Before I even highlight Cooper specifically, they have a team in Anthony Davis, Klay Thompson, D'Angelo Russell that you talk about 3 borderline Hall of Famers, probably not D'Lo, but Clay and AD for sure.
Kyrie, January or February.
And then, yes, you get Kyrie back from the injury. But then there's some other guys that I really enjoy watching. Najee Marshall out of Xavier, just an elite defender in all aspects. Max Christie coming over from the Lakers. He was brothers with my teammate Cam Christie. Ryan Nembhard, just a complete floor general. Jaden Hardy.
Gonzaga for Nembhard.
Yeah, and Jaden Hardy. I think he was an OTE guy, but just an athlete. This team is they have something going for them. And then you add in the number 1 pick in Cooper Flagg, and he's got all the hype in the world. He's got the Wemby talk and all this kind of, hey, what kind of rookie year can you put out there? He's super talented. I've watched a lot of Cooper Flagg from his Duke days. And I caught briefly that Dallas Mavericks game. He only played 14 minutes, but he goes 3 of 6. He makes his free throws and he grabs 6 rebounds. Something I think at his position, he's going to kind of be that 3/4. He can be an elite rebounder for that team, especially when they go big with Derek Lively and Anthony Davis on the floor. He's going to be a 6'8", 6'9" 3-man. So your advantage there is offensive rebounding. Your advantage is stretching the floor. He's a do-it-all type of guy, and I'm really looking forward to watching him. I think it's Rookie of the Year bust for Cooper Flagg.
Blakemore watched a lot of Nembhard and his older brother at Gonzaga.
Yeah, totally.
Who do you like more for fantasy basketball and why? So let's go 8 cats here. We have points, assists, rebounds, steals, blocks, field goals, free throws, and three-pointers made.
Yeah.
SGA or Anthony Edwards, and why?
Yeah, the homer in me goes to Ant right away. You're going to get more 3-point volume from Anthony Edwards if that's something you value. Shea is not the most consistent, dominant 3-point shooter in the world, as we know. He'd rather operate in the mid-range and get to the free throw line. But Shea is going to get that assist category up. That's something throughout this season I want to look for Anthony Davis to just take a jump, take a leap. He attracts so much, right? And I think his first step is arguably one of the best all time in the NBA, his ability to beat his primary defender off the dribble. And now you've done that. Now read the defense. What's going on? Can you get to the floater? Can you get to the mid range? If the defense collapses, can you spray it to the outside? Do you have a Johnny Juzang? Do you have a Terrence Shannon being able to knock down shots for you? So I think, broad term to answer that question, I'd go with Anthony Edwards. Probably a little homer in me, but Shea's got all his guys around him. Everybody's back. That team is going to be absolutely dangerous again this year.
Blakemore likes Luka more than both of them.
I love Luka this year. I think
Luka cut weight.
Luka cut weight.
Yeah, I think I saw something on social media.
He cuts weight every.
He does?
Every year.
So he's not so
quote unquote
puffy?
Cuts weight. But he had the Eurobasket this summer, so the Europe competition from all these nations, and he looked really, really good. Looked in shape. His shot looked really pretty. I think this is a big year for Luka Doncic.
Are you feeling J.J. McCarthy out of the break for the Vikings? And if so, what do we think of that? And good morning.
I think it's tough. And good morning. I think if you're the Vikings organization and you're sitting down and you're staring the Eagles in the face and you're a 7.5 point dog and you're figuring out how can we find a way to beat this Eagles football team, I think you got to keep your faith in Carson Wentz. I feel like he's just formed this connection with JJ, and now you have Jordan Addison back, even though there was a little first quarter suspension. Nonetheless, I think he's a guy that's really operated the offense really well. Jordan Mason, Xavier Scott, 2 guys that need to hold on to the football, but I like what they're doing. I think if you're the organization, you keep your trust in Carson right now, and you tell JJ to be ready.
What if Wentz? Well, Wentz has a bum shoulder.
Bum shoulder, yeah.
All right, so that's what the coach said on Monday. With said bum shoulder, my man found a way to go 9 for 9 on the game-winning drive.
He was excellent.
Bum shoulder, 9 for 9 on the game-winning drive. Pretty good.
How about some of those sidearm throws too? Classic vintage Carson Wentz.
You try to throw with a bad shoulder, man. You got to throw sidearm. Change. I don't even know which shoulders hurt, but that whole
probably
thing,
both, right?
That whole thing sounded perfect. The Wild season opener is tomorrow night. That McDavid deal came down during a vocal maintenance day for yours truly. So did I see it right? 2 years and a ton less than Kaprizov?
Yeah, from my understanding, and Blakemore can correct me, but I saw a 2-year, $25 million. So that would be what, 12.5 a year.
I'm sorry, I was watching Luca highlights over here. I wasn't watching.
Understandable.
I'm correct, right? 2-year, $25 million.
It's in that ballpark. So yeah, it's a 2-year deal. I think it's 12 or 12 and a half AAV. So it is significantly less, but it's we want to win a cup. This is our window, and if not, I'm going to get paid after this 2 years.
Yeah, type of situation where how can you help the guys around you?
Yeah,
right.
The village.
Do you want your face on the private jet, or do you want to share the private jet with somebody else? That type of situation.
So what does that say about the deal we gave to our purported superstar Double B?
I mean, get back to me in 3 or 4 years and see if Edmonton has a cup to show for it. And if they do and we don't, then that'll be it.
It's fairly stated.
Yeah.
Last time Parker was here, PJ Fleck, coach of the Gophers football team, was on the 9 to noon show because it was a Monday. And I think I've stated this in a roundabout way before. I don't feel like contextually I need to go down the road of like the who, what, where, when, and why when it comes to let's say college football and or basketball royalty and what you can do in this day and age in certain markets, and more so what you can't do.
Yeah.
I love PJ as a coach here.
So do I.
And well, why for you?
I think his culture. So many people we want to win football games, right? And that's no surprise. Mark Coyle wants to win football games. He wants this university to compete at the highest level. But there's also something to be said about the life program and the type of environment that PJ's created. The row the boat culture is something that I think is invaluable. I think it's something that it goes beyond your 4 or 5 years of playing football at the university. It's all about keeping your oar in the water and continuing to tread. And it's something that I think so many guys get done with basketball, football, college athletics, and things get stagnant, right? And PJ's kind of created this culture where keep yourself rowing. And I think if you look at the success of the program, I think we've won 5 or 6 straight bowl games. We've played in some solid bowl games. We've had at least 8 wins for the past 4 or 5 years. Like, this is a guy that's created an environment where recruits want to come in and play football for him. Now, can you sustain that? Now, can the NIL be something that helps you out, get a little better guys? Can you keep some of these guys around? Are you losing guys to the best programs? I don't know. That's to be said in the future with NIL. But just in terms of being a Gopher, somewhere where I called myself home for the past 4 years, I'm proud to have PJ at the helm for that.
Back to the NBA for a second. At Parker Fox 24. I don't want to forget this because it does kind of tie into part of the conversation we had on Monday, where I'm like with the, and I'm not the first to say this or think this, but with the way college football and or basketball, the two most popular nationally, are constructed now, I think it's fair to say that we are heading into, if we are not fully ensconced within said era now, of a handfulish of teams being the only ones to matter every single year. Okay, well, that's boring. Yeah. But nevertheless, that's where we are. And so I want to start with the NBA. OKC is heavily favored to win the title, all right? Yeah. Like 2.5 to 1. The next one's up there like 6-7 to 1. Milwaukee is 60 to 1. Ooh. Giannis, Miles Turner, and maybe some Bobby Portis. But, like, that's about it. So, like, I was looking at these numbers getting ready for Pete Box. I'm like, damn, Giannis, 60 to 1 here. Oh, hey, they got Miles Turner. Picked an Eastern Conference team. I feel you on that. Bobby Portis, I got all his albums. But then you look up and down, that's about it right there, man. 60 to 1. I ain't taking that 60 to 1.
Yeah, I don't love the Bucks this year. They went and added, Kyle Kuzma last year. They went out and got Cole Anthony, Gary Trent Jr. and Gary Harris joined that team. I don't think there's enough.
I'm going to go out there and win a title with Giannis, so I'm going to add 2 former members of the Orlando Magic.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I don't think I don't think the Bucks have really much going on. You would have to see some crazy 40 and 20 type of performance every night from Giannis Antetokounmpo, which is capable of doing. But
so college basketball, all right, to close.
Yeah.
Now off the Monday conversation and the statement that I made about a minute ago about the handfulish of teams, NCAA tournament, all right, March Madness. The favorites currently in the betting markets. So think with the portal and NIL that a handful of the same good teams are going to be prevalent every single year. Now, did you look it up, who the favorites are?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, I was gonna quiz you.
Oh, shoot.
Just to see how many you could guess.
Well, I would have told you right away Purdue is got to be first.
You would have said Purdue.
Yes, I would have went right
but
away
would
with
you have
Purdue.
said Houston, Florida, Duke, and UConn?
I mean, they were there last
Probably,
year.
right?
100%.
Okay, well, that ain't good.
No, it's
the puncher's chance has been eliminated.
Yeah, it's the everybody loves the fairy tale, right? Everybody loves the 16 beating the 1, and it's still possible, right? Like you never say die. I was actually had the chance to have,
but the problem is the 16.
Yeah,
it might actually fall into a couple of good Parker Foxes, and then we got double doubles with a block shot and a half a game.
Yeah.
Well, then P Fox is going to get millions thrown at him to go to Purdue, Houston, Florida, Duke, or UConn.
And we saw it happen with Purdue this year. They added a kid from South Dakota State, I think by the name of Oscar Cliff.
That's right.
A 24-12 type of guy. And he's going to go there and be Trey Kaufman-Renz and Daniel Jacobson's backup. So you talk about, going to a winning program. That's sweet. You're adding depth. I'm sure Painter sold him on a bunch of money and also the chance to go play in a national championship and to win the Big Ten, the whole deal. That's phenomenal. But now your role is half, if not less than half of what it used to be.
Right.
And as a guy who used to have that role, and I'll tell you, it's a lot more fun to win than it is to lose. That's for sure.
This whole scenario doesn't bug you?
It does.
It can't bug you because it's not changeable, and really you don't have anything to do with it.
There's the answer. It's inevitable, right?
Yeah.
It's just what's going to happen. But I do think that there needs to be some sort of a change, and I'm excited to see what that possibly could be.
I will see you next week, and thank you for stopping by. Okay,
Love you, brother.
Love you too. Tell Taylor I say hi. Parker Fox at Parker Fox 24. This is 9 to noon. Thank you, TimberTech and TimberTech.com for some What's on Deck 9 to noon, which includes the Minnesota Wild and a faith and family program before a game against the San Jose Sharks. That's around the corner, followed by PFT. Yeah, Mike Florio joins about 20 minutes from now. Brett Blakemore produces 9 to noon today, and Brett has some money to give away. Good morning, Double B.
And good morning. The cash thing, the fan and 2 men in a junk truck want to give you a shot to win bonus bucks to the National Cash Contest. Head to KFAN.com. Keyword is money this hour. Keyword money, KFAN.com, keyword money.
To noon continues.
Faith and Goal.
October 26th, the San Jose Sharks are in town, and it's also Faith and Family Night at the arena. And that's going to be very, very cool, and really cool. The Wild are putting something like this on, including a Faith and Family ticket pack, which includes your game ticket plus access to a pregame event and postgame prayer and photo at center ice, led by team chaplain Bill Butters. And later in the radio show, later in 9 to noon today, we're going to give away a bunch of these for those who would like to join. That's coming up later. And now we're happy to be joined by Sarah Scinto, the team Sales and Service Academy Manager, joining 9 to noon, close to 9:30. Good morning, Sarah. It's Paul Allen. Good to meet you.
Good morning, Paul. Thanks so much for having me on the show.
Right on. Thanks. By the way, thanks for choosing KFAN and specifically 9 to noon to receive the opportunity to share about what's coming up with Faith and Family Night. Why is Faith and Family Night important to the organization?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's important because it provides a great place for believers to gather and hear testimonies from past alumni. The Wild has really showed their support from the start of this Faith and Family Night, which started about 4 years ago. And it's powerful to be with like-minded people and build relationships with others in the community. Personally, it's also a nice outlet in my life as my priorities can be celebrated. And it's an opportunity for fans to come together who share a common purpose and passion with one another and to glorify God throughout this.
Amen. That's beautiful. Now, I'm Christian and don't adhere to a particular religious denomination. So biblically, the way I see an evening like this would go as follows. Join as a non-believer or one who hasn't really thought about belief in God, and let's see what the Holy Spirit does with the evening. And the same goes for the believer in Christ as redeeming Savior. And it's a day of Holy Spirit guided worship and prayer and learning and the hockey game. Is that the right way to look at Faith and Family Night? And what else can you add?
Yeah, absolutely. So we'd love for anyone to join us no matter where you are in your faith walk. This is a great opportunity for people who have questions or are just starting to explore their faith a little bit more. At this pregame event, you will hear biblical truth and the gospel being preached by our speakers.
Sarah, this is the fourth year of the event, and recently you guys teamed with Grace Church in Eden Prairie, and personally, that's just outstanding. I'm friends with their lead pastor Troy Dobbs, who's salt of the earth, and others associated with the sola scriptura approach Grace takes in its teaching. What led you guys to Grace?
Yeah. They are a great church, like you said. And last year, we started partnering with Praise Live, the radio station, who also leads the Minnesota Twins Faith and Family Night. So we got connected through them, and they've been a great partner of ours since last year. And we're super excited to have them back again this year to lead us in worship.
That's beautiful. Sarah Scinto with the Minnesota Wild, manager of the team's sales and service academy. And we're talking about Faith and Family Night, October 26th, before the game against the San Jose Sharks, which I believe begins at 5. Wild.com for information if anybody wants to get tickets. Now, somewhere during the course of the radio show today, we are going to give away a bevy of tickets to this event and I believe the game. You're adding a post-game prayer on the ice this year, led by team chaplain Bill Butters. What do you envision with that?
Yeah, it's a great way to really end the night. So it's an opportunity for us to come together, end the evening in prayer after the game, and we hope that you'll join us, right? Invite your friends, family, Bible study, small group, church community, and help us pack the ice after the game.
A portion of the purchase of the tickets, by the way, head to Annunciation Church and School. In what ways will that aid those at Annunciation?
Yeah. So our hope in this is to assist them financially with whatever that looks like for them in this terrible tragedy. So through this, we want them to know that we are supporting them and praying for them during this difficult time. And we hope that this is just a little something that we can help show support in.
Lastly here, Faith and Family Day, October 26th, before the Sharks game, is open to... And I guess I'm speaking for the situation here, so correct me if I'm wrong. It's open to people of all faith walks, correct? And is the best place to learn more at wild.com?
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely open if you're looking to explore your faith a little bit more, hear biblical teaching, hear the gospel. This is a great place for you to come and attend. And yeah, wild.com, under our tickets tab, there's a promotional nights, and you'll see that opportunity to purchase tickets under our Faith and Family ticket pack.
Is there anything I've missed? Anything I've left out, Sarah? Anything else we need to know about Faith and Family Day/game, October 26th?
Honestly, that's about it. I mean, again, this is our fourth year, and it just keeps getting bigger and bigger each year. I think our first year we had about 16 people attend, and now we're north of 200, which is amazing. And we hope that it just continues to grow year after year. So we're just praising God for all that He's done throughout this event, and we're excited for the end of the month here.
Amen. Again, thanks for choosing KFAN and specifically 9 to noon to share this news. And I believe we have some stuff to give away in accordance with it, and we'll do that later in the show. So God bless you and your family, Sarah, and may God bless the evening, October 26th, with the Faith and Family, then the game. And thank you very much for helping. All right.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks so much, Paul.
Yep. See ya. Sarah Scinto with the Minnesota Wild Team Sales and Service Academy Manager. All right. Let's, it's kind of a little bit of a covenant cleanup here. Okay, so Brett Blakemore's producing 9 to noon. Old people do things like this. Sent the set list email to a bad email. So now you're in lockstep with the plan, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so when you look at that 1033,
yes,
and now we know there's no Pat Micheletti.
Yes.
And we know what we're doing there with the Wild and hashtag Faith and stuff like that. End of segment, we give away whatever tickets we have via phone. Are you in lockstep with that?
I see it. I read it. I've got it.
Good. Thank you. So again, somewhere during the course of the radio show today, we will be giving away ticket packages to Faith and Family night. It's actually day and night because I believe check-ins at 3:00. Then the Faith and Family program begins at like 3:30, and puck drops 5:00 against Blakemore San Jose Sharks. Wild.com underneath the ticket tab, as Sarah mentioned, you'll be able to learn more. So do listen to 9 to noon because sometime today we are giving away a bevy of ticket packages to Faith and Family day/night with the Minnesota Wild. Florio PFT next.
Babies cry, and that's normal, but if you're feeling overwhelmed, it's okay to step away. Never shake a baby. Shaking can kill, and 1 in 4 don't survive. Survivors often face permanent brain damage. Learn more and give today at nevershakemn.com.
PFT, yeah, you know we. And one of our very favorites, Mike Florio, ProFootballTalk.com, NBC's Football Night in America, joins us now. And from PFT to the Will Reichert kick at Tottenham Hotspur. Did Reichert's kick hit the wire at Tottenham Hotspur or not? And good morning.
Good morning, Paul. Welcome back from Ireland, London. And hey, 1-1 is better than 0-2, and it could have been 0-2. And one of the reasons that it might have been 0-2 was that 51-yard field goal with less than 10 minutes to play in the game would have tied the game up. Live, it didn't look amiss, but there's an angle where you see the ball jerk abruptly to the right if you're facing the goalpost, and you see the cable violently shaking. So I believe it did strike the cable, and when I inquired, I was told on background that the NFL didn't have a clear view of the ball hitting the cable, which implies that they believe it did. They're very, at times, particular about having clear and obvious evidence before they'll overturn a ruling on the field. Sometimes they know something happened, but without the clear and obvious evidence, they won't overturn it. Now, that doesn't explain whether or not in the moment replay assist looked at it and thought, maybe this thing hit the wire, but we don't have clear and obvious evidence. But regardless, it happened. It became a thing. And on the same day, there was a clear strike of Skycam at MetLife Stadium in the Cowboys-Jets game, and they misapplied the rule there. It's supposed to be a mulligan when it happens. They called it an incomplete pass, and the Jets, who had 3rd and goal, went to 4th and goal and kicked a field goal. They should have had another shot at the end zone because anytime the cables or the camera are hit, it's supposed to be a do-over. It's like playing out in the front yard and, you know, the ball hits the tree and it's interference and you get another try.
Okay, now the Minnesota Vikings, the team is 3-2 and has had a bevy of significant injuries. Sunday they used their 13th different offensive line combo through 5. With key players returning after the bye, what do you expect the rest of the journey?
Well, the key is weathering the storm of injuries, hoping that the storm ends and that you can settle in with a lineup that can develop chemistry and develop confidence and start stacking wins. The schedule doesn't get any easier, although games that looked very difficult entering the season currently don't seem as daunting. That short week trip to L.A. to face the Chargers coming up, they're not the juggernaut that they were a couple of weeks ago. The Ravens are currently disintegrating, and even if they have Lamar Jackson back, they have no one on defense who plays at a high level. They've got players, but they've made a couple of desperate moves recently to shore up the back end of their defense. So if the Vikings can get through this, stay healthy, and get consistent, they're in a position to start moving in the right direction. There's a lot of teams clustered. Look at our power rankings this week. It's amazing how some of these quote-unquote good teams have fallen apart. There are teams that weren't expected to be good that are firmly in the mix. I think it's going to change every week because every game brings another opportunity for another team to, number one, start getting injured, and number two, start losing games because of it.
From us, okay, to the AFC. From 1-4, are the Ravens actually going to miss the playoffs?
They're still the betting favorites by a slim margin to win the AFC North, which tells you that people still aren't sold on the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers are 3-1. They should be 2-2. They were grossly outplayed by the Patriots, but they forced 5 turnovers and stole a win in Foxborough a couple of weeks ago. And you never quite know what you're getting from the Steelers. One game, the defense shows up. One game, the offense shows up. Against the Vikings, unfortunately, both sides showed up enough to get the win. So right now, it sure feels like the Steelers are in the driver's seat. They're 3-1, and the Bengals are 2-3. They're the worst 2-3 team I've ever seen. And the Browns and Ravens are both mired at 1-4. So there's this belief, and I think it's stubbornness because of the track record of the Ravens, that they're going to figure it all out. There's a chance the wheels are just going to keep coming off, especially if Lamar Jackson misses multiple additional weeks as that hamstring heals. And anybody's had a hamstring injury knows that above all else it needs time. And if you're talking about a quarterback who relies upon his mobility to operate at a high level, you don't want to let him play again, and he shouldn't want to play again until he's truly 100%. With a hamstring, you think you're 100%. You go out there and you open it up, and it grabs you again, and it reminds you that you're not 100% even though you thought you were.
ProFootballTalk.com.
PFT.
Florio, I'm also an author. His most recent book is called Big Shield.
Did you read it? Did you read it all the way back from Ireland?
No, it was too
late. Or
late.
London?
It was,
or wherever?
It was a 9-hour flight, and it was
all the more time to read it.
I know, but it was tough to get comfortable, but I will. What did you think of Jacksonville's Monday night win against KC?
That was the kind of the game in past years the Chiefs find a way to win and the Jaguars find a way to lose. And the Jaguars were finding a way to lose up until the very end. You know, the lightning strike moment came when Devin Lloyd and Devin McCourty did a great job yesterday on PFT Live explaining that play that resulted in the pick six that was a 14-point swing. They have, with Anthony Campanile, the Brian Flores type approach, and they'll overload the line of scrimmage, and they'll send or pretend they're sending more defenders than the offensive line can handle. And in that moment, when they had the numbers where they had one more than could be blocked, at the snap, Devin Lloyd saw the center focus on stopping Devin Lloyd. So Lloyd knew, I don't have to go, because if he's devoted to me, we still have the mismatch. He drops back into coverage, and he snags the ball and goes 99 yards the other way. But even after that, the Jaguars seemingly were trying to blow it. I know that there was a pass interference that maybe should have been called, but Trevor Lawrence throws the interception. It's 21-21. The Chiefs are leading late, 28-24. And the Jaguars put that drive together. And that play, in one moment, it goes from disaster to victory. Guy falls down twice and then rolls to the left, isn't tackled. There's that video of Chris Jones loafing because he believed that Trevor Lawrence was going to be tackled a couple of yards behind the goal line. It's just a reminder. Never stop going. Never quit on a play. Even if you think it's over, it may not be over. Expend that effort to get over there. And even if you don't make the tackle, there's a chance the ball comes out and you're going to be in position to grab it. So that is a game that we have seen Kansas City find a way to win and the Jaguars find a way to lose. And I think it changes the perception of the Jaguars. And it could change the narrative on Trevor Lawrence, who had kind of settled in somewhere between 10 and 20. You have a game like that, you start moving up the stack in the eyes of your teammates and in the eyes of your opponents. And it could be that Liam Cohen is exactly what he needed to unlock a higher level of performance that we thought we were going to get Remember when they made the playoffs in 22, they came back and won that game against the Chargers. They gave the Chiefs everything they could handle in the divisional round, and then it all fell apart after that. It could be that they're moving back in the right direction, and they could be a force to be reckoned with when January rolls around.
Well said about Lawrence. Now Denver beat the champs at Philly. All right, so Saquon says Hurts and A.J. Brown got together and chatted offense.
For 2 hours!
What
are you talking about for 2 hours?
Do these guys crave drama, or are there truly problems within that covenant?
They don't crave drama. The Eagles do a great job of keeping the drama from reaching critical mass. Now, remember, 2 years ago, they were 10-1, and it all kind of fell apart. They only won one game down the stretch. They were embarrassed by the Bucs 32-9 in the wild card game. Cue the shot of Jeffrey Lurie with that look of dismay and fury and frustration on his face as he watched it all happen. There were a couple of days we're wondering, are they going to do the Nick Sirianni for Bill Belichick switch? At the same time, we were wondering whether or not the Cowboys were going to do that, Mike McCarthy for Bill Belichick. But they came back. They settled it down last year. But there's clearly something between Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown. And the most telling moment came last week when it all came to a head after the win over the Buccaneers, and A.J. Brown posts the biblical quote on Twitter, and on Wednesday he shows up and says, I shouldn't have done that, but it doesn't mean what you think it means, and yes, I'm frustrated, I'm not getting the ball enough. They asked Jalen Hurts in his press conference, what's your relationship with A.J. Brown? Now, these are guys who, it was this big deal when A.J. Brown was traded to the Eagles. Jalen Hurts is the godfather of one of A.J. Brown's children, and when they asked Jalen Hurts, what's your relationship with A.J. Brown, he says, it's good. And he kind of curled his lips down and clenched his jaw, and that just tells me there's something there between those guys. So I thought earlier today maybe Saquon got in the room and he made, and this is a very timely reference that all the kids will get, he made like Mo Howard and clunked the heads together of A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts and told them to work their stuff out because it's affecting the team. Now, I don't know that happened, but that's what someone needs to do, because when personal issues affect the broader goal, and it seems like they are, you got to find a way to resolve the personal issues. And if they can't be resolved, somebody's got to go. And obviously, between the two guys, it would be A.J. Brown who goes.
Hardcore football.
How much of a shocker is it New England went to Buffalo and won that game?
On the surface, it's a shocker, and people were ready to anoint the Patriots. And it's like, wait a minute. They blew out the Panthers, right? They lost to the Raiders, who haven't beaten anyone since then. They should have lost to the Steelers. But look at the Bills' first four games. Okay, they had to pull a rabbit out of their butts to beat the Ravens on the first Sunday night of the season. They manhandled the Jets. That's really not something that they will give out trophies for. They almost lost to the Dolphins. It took a late interception to end that one. They toyed with the Saints longer than they should have, to the point where it felt like the Saints had a chance to steal that game. Those were the first four games. That's not how a Super Bowl level team operates. Look at the Colts. When the Colts have the chance to beat a lesser team, what do? They beat the hell out of them. They did it to the Dolphins. They did it this weekend to the Raiders. 40-6, I think, was the final score.
Yeah.
So it really doesn't surprise me, because we've seen the flaws in the Buffalo defense, and we're caught up in the idea that it's time. After 31 years, they're going to get back to the Super Bowl. They're finally going to finish it. It's the last year at the new stadium. And I think that loss to the Patriots on Sunday night took a lot of air out of that balloon, and you really have to wonder what the Bills are. Not that they have a ton of tests on the regular season schedule. Are they going to be able to deal with the best of the best when the playoffs roll around? You know, they draw the Broncos again, like they did last year in the wild card round. Probably not going to be the same easy day that it was, because the Broncos are on the rise. And I just think the Bills, for now, aren't as tested as we would think they've been. Let's see how they hold up to the tests, especially when the playoffs roll around. You know, for a team that chronically struggles to get to where it's trying to go in the postseason year after year, man, that pressure ramps up to 100 plus when it's time to go play those single elimination games.
Boys firing bullets today.
PFT.
Green Bay is off the bye and hosts Cincinnati. So off the loss to Negan, off the loss to Cleveland, and the tie at Dallas. How comfortable do you think things are with the Green Bay Packers?
Well, I'm sure they did plenty of soul searching and self-scouting and trying to understand exactly what went wrong in Dallas. That game really turned in the final 2 minutes of the first half when it was boom, boom, 2 touchdowns from the Cowboys, and what should have been a rout turns into what became that very unsatisfying tie game. The only thing a tie is good for is sorting out tiebreakers later in the year, unless there are more ties. And frankly, with this new overtime regular season format with 2, in theory, guaranteed possessions in only 10 minutes, we may see more ties. We may be resolving tiebreakers with ties included. But this is the chance for the Packers to kind of get right. They got the Bengals coming to town. They're going to see Joe Flacco for the second time. Joe Flacco's an AFC North quarterback. It's like he's in the NFC North. He's going to play the Packers twice now in fairly rapid succession. So the Packers need to get right on this one. This is the one team they should beat easily, and that's the key. It's not just score one more point. They need to thump the Bengals to give themselves the confidence they had back when they were 2-0, and one of the starting offensive linemen commented that they could go undefeated. They're 0-1-1 since he said that.
You mentioned Indianapolis. Was Mark Sanchez a drunkard who just lost his mind and now faces felony charges off that incident?
That's for the courts to determine, a jury potentially to decide in a criminal case, and a separate jury in a civil case. But the whole thing is weird. And I can't remember a curveball like this in a story that was so stunning. I was sitting here working on Saturday afternoon, and I see Mark Sanchez's name trending. And anytime I see it, I was like, well, let's see what's up. He was stabbed and taken to the hospital in critical condition. Oh, no. What criminal in Indianapolis stabbed Mark Sanchez? And then you find out a few hours later, he's the alleged criminal.
Right.
He's being arrested in the hospital on multiple charges. And then it was like drip, 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 story after story after story. And as the facts started to come into focus, as alleged by the police, as supported by the police affidavits, he starts a fight with a guy 69 years old and skinnier than me, which is hard to do, who is a truck driver picking up the used oil from the fryers in the hotel kitchen, and he's telling the guy, I talked to the manager and you're not allowed to park here? What in the hell was that?
I know.
And then he goes after the guy, and then the guy pepper sprays him in the face, and Sanchez keeps coming to the point where the guy thinks Sanchez is going to kill him. Out comes the knife. My God, what an incident, what a mess. And now, like I said, there's a criminal prosecution with a felony charge now, and the investigation isn't over. They could add more. And this civil lawsuit that was filed on Monday. And the guy's lawyer filed suit both against Sanchez and Fox. And a lot of people are like, what's Fox have to do with this? Well, the facts will determine whether and to what extent Fox knew or should have known of any propensity or proclivity by Sanchez to engage in this kind of behavior, to potentially get really drunk, be set loose on the streets of a city where he's on work assignments because of his employment with Fox. If they knew or should have known, and if he was drinking at a Fox function, and, you know, there's a lot of ifs that need to be resolved one way or the other through the discovery process and the civil litigation, but Fox could have a problem. A lot of it also depends upon the specific laws of the state of Indiana, but this is a huge mess. And look, people, it's a money grab. It's not a money grab. This guy wanted to be left alone. This guy wasn't looking for somebody to sue.
Right.
He wants to do his job, and he gets the crap beat out of him. Now, again, it's for a jury and a judge to decide in both criminal and civil court, but this guy wasn't looking for a payday. This guy's just looking to be left alone. Most of the people who get injured because of the misconduct of others would have preferred that it never happened and they just be left alone.
Well, that's brilliant the way you laid that out. And any surprise the Cards dinged Coach Jonathan Gannon $100,000 for the way he treated players on the sideline of that Titans loss?
Well, you know, it gave me flashbacks to 50 years ago when I was playing grade school football as a fifth grader, 10 years old. And back in those days, the coaches would use physicality to send a message. And I don't know if I've ever told you this story. I've talked about it on PFT Live. One of the reasons that I'm like wired to never stop and I'm constantly working or writing or doing something, back in those days, if you were standing around, out of nowhere, you got the shoe of the coach right in your ass. And I still remember how it felt, and that, oh my gosh, and, you know, so back in those days it was fine. Nowadays you can't put hands on players. And even though it's obstructed the video that's out there, you can see that there's contact made when they're face-to-face, and then when Gannon goes past him, he hits him in the arm. So it doesn't surprise me. And it's good that somebody did something because he clearly crossed the line there. And, I'd love to know what Jonathan Gannon did or didn't say to his team when they got together after their little mini bye. They played Thursday. Sunday, the coaches are working, getting ready for the next game. They have access to all the other games. Adney Mitchell of the Colts trying to celebrate prematurely, fumbles the ball through the end zone. That's something that any coach in the NFL should have shown his players the next day. As a reminder, carry the ball into and through the end zone. And when Emery DeMarcado failed to do that, there went the game against the Titans, and it may be Gannon's fault for not hammering that point home. So maybe he was projecting a little bit when he went after DeMarcado, because maybe Gannon realizes it's his own damn fault for not ensuring that all of his players understood the importance of not letting go of the football until they are past the goal line.
Well done. I'll call you next week.
See you, Paul.
Mike Florio, ProFootballTalk.com, also an author of many books, including his most recent, Big Shield. Learn more about that at ProFootballTalk.com. We are going to cross the pond. Again, as Nordo did last week with yours truly, Pete Bursich and others. But now it's one of our favorites who's in Spain to chat some Vikings football, figure out who it is around the corner. And don't forget, somewhere during the course of the radio show today, I believe we have 10 packs of Faith and Family Wild packages to be given away. And they include ticket or tickets to the Wild and San Jose Sharks October 26th, and also a pregame and postgame festivity called Faith and Family. So listen to 9 to noon for when we open the phone lines for those, and we'll be right back.